Obviously, it's owned by you, and it's located on a primary commercial street in Easton. It has been used most recently as a administration building, and it's currently underutilized. And the intent is to bring it back. It's certainly in disrepair at the moment and needs some attention. Of course, you have copies of this in front of you. The building has been modified from its original floor plan. The main stair has been removed from the center of the building, which was originally here. A new stair was put in the early 60s, and this was floored over. And the additional partition was created for a series of offices, basically to remove it from its original use and turning it into an administrative facility. What we have here is the first floor with the original stairs, second floor here, basement, which is partially below grade, and the attic, which is at this point totally underutilized. The committee studied three potential uses. The existing conditions over time have shown deterioration of the brickwork. There's some cracking, some minor settling, some deterioration of stonework, and front steps are also worn with time, weathered, as well as the stonework, which was rather soft. However, on the interior, aside from the damage from water infiltration, which occurred under the roof at the front of the building and in the corners of the masonry as well, there is a lot of historic fabric from the original building remaining, including some of the very ornate wood wainscoting along the hallways, the pressed metal roof in the basement, and along the exterior walls. There's a lot of the existing trim remains, as well as the wainscoting. Some black boards remain. I'm sure how useful those are. I'm sure they have their use. The committee asked that I study three potential uses for the building. One being commercial reuse of the three major floors, the other being an educational use, and the third being residential use. And during my investigation of these uses, I realized that there's a potential for mixed use as well. And those uses are also identified in the Easton zoning ordinances as uses that are potentially of benefit to the buildup of Northampton Street. And located in the Westward zoning district with a street corridor overlay allows for a lot more intense use along Northampton Street. One of the more interesting parts of this is the potential for not only reuse in the three uses that are recommended, but also the potential of a mixed-use building, where potential residential use on the upper floors could easily be married with commercial use on the first floor, since the main entrance and potential for elevator access, both at the front and rear of the car, could create a vestibule isolating any first floor use from the second floor use. During the day, this would be developed commercial use. In the evening, the residences could come in and exit onto this floor. The exiting could be through the separate entrance of the stair in the front and a new rear stair in the back, which currently fire escapes or remnants of fire escapes on the side of the building. Those would be removed as we can have more centralized egress from the building now. There is also a minor potential should someone come up with a great idea. There is a monumental space in the attic, which is at this point just open. And the stair could be brought up, elevators included, and access connecting to the stair could be used. So there's a lot of opportunity here. And my goal was to investigate all those. Given the limited use of the basement, which is sub-grade, that could be community use for offices as well. Each of these has their own little niche. I happened to be involved in the development of the Trail Bridge School 30 years ago, longer than I wish to remember. And that school was renovated into offices very similar to this, the four square use and multi-bedroom apartments. The study also touched on building codes and potential green sustainable elements into the building. Those would include opportunity for using the large south-facing roof for solar collectors, reusing the existing, not reusing, but removing the existing mechanical systems, and when you replace them, since they'd be totally new, since the current systems are out of date and underused, or not usable at this point for the different uses, put in high-efficiency HVAC units, new lighting, gray water recycling from the site, flush toilets, and so on. So there's, when you start with basically an empty shell and you reuse it for new uses, there's a potential to integrate new technologies into such a building. This also shows potential for handicap ramp, so access to the first floor is very easily accommodated. New stairs would be added to the front since the old stairs are severely deteriorated. They would have to be replaced in any case. This shows the rear fire exterior stair, which would access the second floor so that the first floor and second floor, as well as the basement, have second exit access directly to grade. Basically, after I reviewed these potential uses, I was asked to touch on the next steps. This happened to be an original section through the building showing the original stair and potential elevator use. The next step would include, obviously, a developer choosing the use, being either working with the school district directly or after the sale of the building, determining what uses would be most profitable for this building, doing the necessary upgrades and stabilization and environmental mitigation, as well as repair and determining what the repair cost would be, and identifying a developer who would be taking out the uses. That's about all I have, and I'd like to introduce the next presenter, which is Becky Dryden, and she'll continue the presentation. Thank you very much.
I'm the Director of Planning and Codes for the City of Easton. Just to build on what Steve presented a little earlier, we had passed out before the meeting started some just quick back-of-the-envelope calculations on what potential tax revenue based on the various scenarios would be for the school district. We looked at an all-commercial use perspective, an educational, which is an existing use, which has no tax gain for anyone, the city or the school district, and then an all-residential scenario. We utilized the assessed value, which we know is lower than its actual value, but we did that conservatively so you could get kind of a better idea of what you might see in a worst-case scenario. Based on these scenarios, the 24.95 rate is the city millage rate, and then the 53.247 is obviously the school district millage rate. But under an all-commercial use scenario, that's about $19,228 a year based on the most conservative estimate. Obviously, educational use is zero. And then residential use, we utilize the Urban Land Institute's numbers for calculating the impact of school children onto the community. We require this for every housing development that comes into the city of Easton, so we have that information readily available. But utilizing those standard models for calculating impact, we estimated about 3.3 children based on the square footage of the building, with a first floor use of 3 2-bedroom apartments and 1 3-bedroom dwelling unit. The second floor, 3 2-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom dwelling unit. This would yield about the same amount of taxes, $19,228 for land, and then under the per capita income scenario, adding that in, that would tack on another about $5,000 for about $24,000. And again, these numbers are very conservative, but I think it's important for you to understand what this might mean for the school district. The second thing that I want to talk to you about quickly is, as you're well aware, the city has almost no developable land. The developable land that we do have is largely in floodplains on a few vacant lots here and there throughout the city. We're at what they call 100% build out. So myself and my staff, we're about 21 people. We have planning, code, zoning, health, historic district, environmental, and all sorts of other good stuff. But basically, we deal with all the building and development for the city. We deal specifically in reuse and revitalization and redevelopment. We consider ourselves experts at it, and we've had a lot of experience both assisting developers, buyers, and also with the development and redevelopment ourselves through the city's partnership with the Eastern Redevelopment Authority. Several of the key areas that we'd like to let you know that we have had success with in redeveloping property and things that we look for when we go to reuse a property is partnering with a buyer developer that you know can be successful. Because when you work with a group of folks, it's very important that your vision is realized and that you're able at the end of a project's reuse or redevelopment to be able to share in the success of that project. So a few of the things that we look for is a solid vision and project direction. Some of that is set by the owner of the property. In your case, it would be the Easton Area School District. And to find a buyer and developer with relevant experience. If they don't have the experience to do a project like this, it makes it very difficult to make it successful. So you want to look for something in an urban environment or a like-type project somewhere else in the suburbs, but they can handle the density and the codes and zoning issues that you find are unique to an urban neighborhood. Make sure the buyer developer has a sense of urban design, a sense of community context and how a project integrates with the neighborhood. Because we're so densely developed, you can see, as you're well aware, everything around you. And you have to make sure that whatever goes there is context sensitive with that. And make sure the buyer developer has a solid team in place to handle any issue that comes along with the redevelopment of a site or a building, whether it's a vacant lot or a building. They're very tricky. You have to be a surgeon when you redevelop a site in an urban setting, whether it's an existing building or whether it's a vacant lot. That's because we are so densely developed, and you can put such high density on a lot, so you actually get more on less land in a city, because that requires a lot of patience and a lot of due diligence. And make sure that the buyer developer has a strong financial backing. Make sure they have the money in place before you sign any contract with them at all to see the project through. We usually require a significant amount of cash up front and then proof of financing for the balance of the project. This way we can ensure that the project gets done no matter what happens throughout. And again, in an urban setting, there's always unknowns that you run into. I guess you run into those in a suburban setting too, but I think it's important to realize that in an urban setting, they're often greater in some ways. But make sure that the buyer developer has strong references and that they have a solid track record and ability to deliver on time and on budget, so everyone comes out being a success. We'd love to partner with you on this project. My department in particular issues all permits, zoning, licenses, and that for developments. So we look forward to being able to work with you in the future as this project develops. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks. Christy Guayati from the Community Action Agency in Lehigh Valley. I'm here to talk to you about the developers.
Yeah, but before we get started, I'd like to ask Councilman Volcano, who happens to be here, about looking for a nonprofit. You're not looking, is the city looking for anything that's a nonprofit, or going to put something that we turned away a couple of years ago that had 50 children there, and it would have been a nonprofit?
Or the city would certainly like to partner with the school district or perhaps help them find a developer that will develop the property properly. Certainly the Westwood Neighborhood Partnership would love to be there for their offices, but that may not be the case. That is one of the things that would be a nonprofit. I don't know really where you're going. Just talking about it.
Well, I mean,
We're certainly not purchasing. The city does not have the finances to purchase the building we would love to, but we cannot, but we would certainly love to help you find a good developer
Yeah, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but the city really doesn't want a nonprofit agency there.
Totally,
I don't think we
we're
want one
looking for
either.
tax revenue somewhere, and we're hoping some tax revenue will come out of that building, some portion of it. But if, that would be, the worst case scenario would be that there would be no taxes coming out of that. We're hoping that between the school district and the city and the county, we would all benefit from some tax revenue in that building.
Dr. Vulcan, if we could just add a courtesy to the presenters, let them finish their schedule for the presentation, and then we're going to go to questions and answers.
Okay, but I never asked my wife that question, so.
Hi, how are you doing tonight? My name is Chris Gigliotti. I'm the Bi County Housing Coordinator, and although my office is at the Community Action Committee of Lehigh Valley, I was actually hired by Lehigh County and Northampton County to help develop unutilized properties, distressed properties, bank REO properties, builder backyard properties, and we're trying to renew them. And as we renew them, we're trying to do it in public-private partnerships. And to address your concern, Doctor, we also are looking on properties to develop them and redevelop them in nonprofit, for-profit partnerships, so that we can maintain the mission of the nonprofit, but really bring in the capacity and the equity of the for-profit. So as we're doing this, we're working on a lot of neat opportunities. There's so much hardship now, but there's also a lot of opportunity with distressed assets like this one. Just a real quick example, the first project we're looking at is a distressed condominium project, 84 units. It's in the fall. One building is built, and the rest of it is improved for 42 units and 8,500 feet of retail. We put together a partnership team, and we made an application for tax credits, both solar credits for solar components and housing tax credits. And we plan to renew that property with 42 independent senior apartments, and also do a community center for seniors in that area, and then add some geriatric medical offices. But we're trying to tie in the needs of the community as we plan these projects in the partnerships that we're developing. So, having said that, I'd just like to let you know that I'm happy to offer my services with identifying development teams to help develop a design program, to help bring in investor equity, tax credit equity, to do anything that you need to help facilitate the redevelopment and renewal of this property.
I believe we have Mr. Lee next.
Looks like I have half a minute, so I will condense this. Basically, I'm Dennis Lee. I'm a lifetime resident of the Westward. I'm the project coordinator for Westward Neighborhood Partnership right now. We are a combination of a couple of state programs, the Neighborhood Partnership Program and the Elm Street Program at the state level. We have funding from 3 different sources at a level of about $250,000 a year for a 10-year period, which is renewable at the end of that period by these companies. And basically, we citizen activist committees are deciding how to reinvest that in the West Ward. At this time, my whole point here was to give you a kind of a bullet list of all of the various investments we made in the neighborhood. If I can do that to you in writing, I will do that. But what I really like to say to you is the city built its school system in a very visionary way 100 years ago. I grew up in the city. I went to 4 elementary schools in the Westward. Well, 3 elementary schools plus the Hall Street institution, which at the time was a junior high. So I walked to school for 9 years of my public education. Doing that basically builds a bond with people because they're walking to and from their neighborhoods every day to go to school. As we've lost those institutions, I think it becomes tougher and tougher to hold on to our young future generation. I mean, they graduate, they want to gravitate to other places. And I think one of the reasons I'm still in Easton is the fact that I had a pond that was built from walking back and forth to these schools for that amount of time. So as you make this decision, I just wanted you to kind of instill in the back of your mind that many of you may not live in Easton anymore, and the suburbs are part of the school district, but there are certain things that the core city and the school district provides to the suburbs that they can't provide for themselves. It's a destination for cultural, educational, and social activities that the suburbs frankly can't supply. So I hope your conscientiousness when you make this decision, I hope you build that into the whole mathematical formula of how you decide this, because the city is there for everyone, and we're just asking you to reinvest in it as we are in the West Ward right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. I ask the indulgence of the board for a quick one and close. I guess what all this means is that we feel what happens to the Cottingham building will have a tremendous impact on the neighborhood, and also for the community at large, the school district as well. We believe that we can create, in partnership with you, a win-win scenario where everyone benefits. And what we want to avoid is the missed opportunity that could have negative consequences. The RFP kind of guidelines that Becky pointed out, I think is a great guidance. And what we want, and I'm sure what the board members want, is to see this building reach the highest, best possible use that can be positive for everyone, the community. If it goes up for sale, our concern is that it goes to a responsible developer who is held accountable and offers something back of value to the neighborhood and follows the guidelines that Becky talked about. Things that safeguard your investment, taxpayers' investment, and the neighborhood's stability. If that doesn't work, CACLB has already said they'd be willing to step in about 6 months. We're willing to work with you in partnership to make that project work, find a developer, manage that effort, have the community focus needed for that building to be a success, and provide the kind of funding streams, or at least tap into the kind of funding streams, not provide, I shouldn't say that, but tap into the kind of funding streams and expertise that Chris has to bring it all together and make your task a lot easier. What we want to avoid is the possibility of the board just dumping the building. That scenario leads towards the possibility of a speculator buying on cheap, not having the resources or the expertise to make it a success story. And the result is that it'll sit there, it'll deteriorate, it'll become a part of life as opposed to a real success story that I think this district and our community at large can be proud of. It's a wonderful building. It's got great potential. It's a part of our history. We can make it a gem of that section of North Haven Street again. And with your vision and your willingness to help us help you, we feel we can create a wonderful partnership, collaboration that'll bring out the potentials of this building that everyone will win. So with that, we look forward to your questions. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. At this moment, I'll this time open up any questions from the board. Like the panel,
Thank you, Mr. Fairbrother. First, a comment. I'd like to compliment the team. It's probably one of the best presentations I've heard in my short time on this board. And your presentation was very compelling. And in fact, it convinces me that the best way to execute your vision is for the school district to sell the building to the city of Easton so that you can carry out the carefully crafted presentation and will benefit not only the district, but the community. And I would vote for that.
Sounds good. I don't think, being part of the community and talk, I don't think the city has the resources to do that, but I hear your comment. Do we have any other questions from the board?
I'm rereading something from Mr. Whitman here, and it says that under the project narrative that this study has been undertaken by an ad hoc committee of citizens. So, I wasn't on this board very long, okay? So, how did this ad hoc committee, when did that start? What happened before that to get us here? We went to the building not long ago, and it is quite plainly a mess. There are reams of paper, boxes of reams of paper still in the basement. I wouldn't even venture to go upstairs in the attic upon advice from others at the time. This is a disgrace. And, nobody wants to see this building sit there and go into further disrepair. Nobody. And I appreciate all of the work that you've done. You presented a compelling case here, but this district doesn't have any money. We are at critical Excuse me?
May I address that?
Certainly.
One of the things that really probably wasn't as clear as it could have been in our presentation was the fact that we're not necessarily saying we don't want you to put the building up for sale. We don't have the assets, so we're not going to come up here and try to give you a dog and pony show that says we can take this building tomorrow and develop it. That's not what we're here for. What we would like to do is see it put on the market, but with certain contingencies, as Becky addressed, and she can probably help you create those. Whereas the property goes on the market with certain contingencies as to who can buy it and how they can do it. In that period of time that it's on the market, if somebody doesn't come forward who's a responsible developer, one of the things I was going to make in my presentation, the point I was going to make was, if you lay out a really good pro forma for a developer who wants to come and do something with this building, it's going to be a lot easier for them to actually get buy-in from the public and the city to do it than coming in on their own with their own scheme and then trying to fight their way through the process, which happens in Easton all the time. People come with unvetted ideas for projects and they basically flounder because the city and the public doesn't buy in and fights it every inch of the way. So what we would like to do is create for you the pro forma for the project to be sold under certain circumstances. Now, if that person doesn't come forward in the next 6 months, we're still going to be working on our own plan and put financing in place. We can come back to you at some point and say, we're ready, we'll take it off your hands right now. So I just want to make sure that was as clear as it could be. And in terms of your question about the history, it was actually a committee, I believe, part of Westward Partnership before I started that kind of started this, and then it got lost in limbo somewhere along the line. It was kind of re-energized 2 years ago when the previous buyer came on the scene and we kind of got back on the ball. So now we're back on the ball here.
Would that have been the time, Dr. McGilly, when the administration building moved to 1801?
Yes.
I understand your personal experience, walking to school, and we've lost that as part of society now, for better or for worse. I'm confused now. I thought tonight was going to be it, like we were going to extend any more time. Are we going to discuss the option of another 6 months?
Well, this meeting tonight was an opportunity for the committee to present their findings. When we're done with questions and answers, based on the consensus I feel here tonight, it will either get held in committee or will get pushed to the full board for the 27th meeting. If it does get pushed to the full board of the 27th meeting, it will be on the agenda as to sell or to keep.
To keep?
To keep in the possession of the district and or to sell. I mean, we haven't worked out what will actually be on the agenda next month. I mean, the next meeting. So we're hearing the presentation, and based on the consensus, if there's still more questions or unanswered questions or ideas, it would be held in committee. If not, it will go to full board at the end of the month for a vote on whether it's if we're looking to sell it or if we're looking to hold on to the property.
Okay, hold on to the property.
Keep the property, meaning it's still at least, we're not going to discuss yet what we're
Okay.
going to do. You know what I mean? We have to
All right.
determine if we're keeping it or
Right,
selling
and I
it.
didn't move here. We're just getting to know each other. And ask a lot of questions.
Perhaps I can have a little clarity.
I think Dennis made a point very cogent, and that was that we understand that this may have to go on the market. If it does, though, the key point is to have the kind of RFP requirements that ensure that only a quality developer picks it up, that they have the wherewithal to make the project a reality, not something that's going to be pie in the sky, speculate, sit on, but a quality project that will benefit the district, the neighborhood, and the community. If, however, someone of that caliber does not step forward, CACLB has said they were willing to partner with the school district to see if they can tap into funding streams that are out there, work with their expertise, get a quality developer, and assist you to deal with the building. The last thing we don't want is the idea of it just being dumped at a cheap price. A speculator gets it, sits on it, deteriorates, and we add to the plate. There is a path through this to benefit the district, to benefit the community, to benefit the neighborhood. And that's having the standards in an RFP for a quality developer who can do it. And if that can't happen, CFCLB has graciously said in 6 months, we'll step forward and partner with you to make it work for everyone. So that's kind of where our message is tonight.
I think this needs to get decided now. We need to make some decisions after hearing tonight, and I don't think any of us wants to see that building. fall into further disrepair either. You know, it's very sad that it happened in the first place, so.
I think, you know, State Representative Freeman and Mr. Lee and everybody, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but your point is if we decide to sell it, you'd like us to be responsible salesperson people, not just dump to anybody, turn it into a landed property or an issue for the West Ward to deal with.
There's ability here. I'm willing to assist the school district to make sure when that pro forma goes out, that RFP goes out, that there are conditions, so that it goes to a quality developer who has the ability, the track record, and the resources to make it happen. And if it doesn't, and say it reverts back to you, that's when CACLV has expressed more than willingness to help you to get the developer you need, to tap into some resources that are out there, and to make the project work. That leaves you with two good options. We just don't want the third option of it being dumped on the cheap and a speculator buying it, sitting on it, and causing weapons havoc to that neighborhood and that community.
I understand Representative Friedman. I guess my frustration comes that, you know, this has been going on since 2008.
Well, it was only able to obtain the agreement for this.
Right, and thank you for obtaining the grant.
And we didn't get that actually locked down until late last year, so it's taken a while to make that happen.
Yes, but it's been on this plate, on this, you know, not this board, but, you know, previous board's plate for a while.
These messages, I think that you know, they've been working on it for a while. We are at the point where we're going to make a decision one way or another. Next week, I think that was, you know, we've been cabling it, so the committee, if they have been working on it for a while, can put their findings together and present to us so we can look at all the avenues and make a good decision going forward.
Understood.
And I think it comes down to the old medical saying, first do no harm.
Right.
Mr. President.
I think he's pointing out something he has to add at this point.
Thank you. I just think it's important at this point to throw a couple of concerns out from the point of view of what school districts can do, what they can't do with their unused and unnecessary real property. The school code is actually quite restrictive in what can be done and what can't be done. And I have considerable reservations, although not a definitive opinion at this time, that some of the proposals that were put forth by the ad hoc committee may be difficult to accomplish legally if not impossible. Let me just take a minute to outline what our options are with regard to property, real property, that we no longer need for educational purposes. Essentially, we can sell the property in one of three ways. It could be an auction, it could be closed bid, it could be a private sale. When that occurs, there are limited options to place restrictions on property who the buyer would be. I personally had experience in this county, in fact, and had an opinion actually against my client, who was the Nazareth School District, by Judge Freeberg, that a school selling unused and unnecessary property cannot create any greater restrictions on the buyer than the zoning would. So that's a concern. With regard to the suggestion that the school district participate as a co-developer of some kind, the law is fairly clear that school districts only possess the authority and power which is expressly provided to them by the school code, and any powers that are reasonably necessary to achieve those express powers. And I can tell you, I'm not familiar with anything in the school code that would permit us to develop this property for commercial purposes. So that, I have a concern there. So I just wanted to lay a couple of those things out at this point before we went too far in either direction. And I'd be happy to entertain questions. I think it's going to require at some point a more definitive opinion on what the options are. They are not unlimited. They are, in fact, quite circumscribed by what the law allows us to do.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Mr. Ely?
My name is Kurt Healy, and I'm a resident here at College Hill and a member of this committee. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things, because I think there's apparently some confusion. This group had absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with anything in 2008. This building is in the deplorable condition it's in because this school district administration and prior boards allowed it to fall into the state or the condition that it's in. It's no one's responsibility but this school district's administration. To say that it is not needed is a determination that you need to make. Other members of this administration in the past came to the conclusion that it was an unneeded building, allowed it to fall into the state of disrepair that it's in, encouraged the prior board to put it up for sale, encouraged that the board accept a sale price that was below its offered price, and encouraged the board to accept a buyer that could not qualify to buy the property. It was that environment that led the Community Action Committee of the Lehigh Valley and the West Ward Neighborhood Partnership Steering Committee to request that we come before the board, prior board, about a year and a half ago, and request that some efforts be made to work with a group, a qualified group, and I believe you would have to agree the group is qualified. There were 3 board members, I stand corrected, I believe 4 board members, at least 3 board members who were appointed by the school board to an ad hoc committee that met over a year and a half. Carrie Ellison, Leonard Ellison was, or Ellison Leonard was a member of that, as was Dr. Volcano and 2 prior board members, including the former board president. What we're saying is, it's possible, what we've been saying all along, is that this building could serve a very useful purpose in this district. Not perhaps the use that it had before, but we've heard talk about the need for a charter school, for example, in this district, something that apparently could be a very attractive decision financially for this board. This school could be an excellent source for that type of use. If you decide that you do want to sell it, the point being made is you have a responsibility to the taxpayers, to the community, to sell it to a qualified buyer. And we're not suggesting in any way that you put restrictions that would be illegal. And I'm quite concerned because on many occasions I've stood before this board and talked about the idea of partnering with the board, other kinds of uses other than the traditional uses, and there had been no objection made at all. You've listened to this board and the prior board, listened to those kind of uses. If you decide that you must sell this building, and I can appreciate, we all can appreciate why you would want to do that. We're asking you to find qualified buyers who can see the project through and use the legitimate legal information, sources, and pro forma efforts that are completely appropriate and totally legal. Am I correct, Becky, in the city of Easton? These things that you've heard mentioned here were completely legal and appropriate in every way.
Mr. Hill, if we can wrap up.
Well, the bottom line is that if you find in doing that you're not able to find a buyer, the Community Action Committee of the Lehigh Valley and the Westward Neighborhood Partnership and the city are willing to assist you. The only reason that they're not coming forward now with some specific dollars and proposals is because those kind of efforts in this environment require a great deal of time. They can't be done in a couple of months. So we're going to continue to work in that direction behind the scenes to provide you with alternatives that are completely legal and appropriate. That's where we're at. And I hope that's helpful.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Very helpful, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Yes?
I forgot two important options that we have. In addition to sale by the methods that I outlined, the school code also authorizes the school district to convey without consideration to a municipality, so long as it's property used for municipal use. And it also is permitted to convey to a 501c3 organization for, the code says, the consideration agreed, which I have always construed as meaning it's possible to sell for less than fair market value to a 501c3 based on whatever is agreed by the parties. So those are the two additional options that I would like to mention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farmer. Do I have any more questions from the board? All right. At this time, I just want to thank the committee for all the work you guys have done. Ms. Brandy, the city, Chris with the CALD, thank you for offering the assistance we may need in the future. At this time, we'll go back over our items. We're going to move our Eagle Scout project to full board. Our high school roof repair, we're going to move to full board. I believe our 811, 211 building will be moved to full board, all for the agenda on the 27th of this month.
So what are we voting on when we talk about 811?
I believe the motion or the vote on the agenda would be to sell the building. Otherwise,
Just to sell the building, or are we looking to sell the building to a qualified vendor responsible buyer?
well, I think that's something that would have to be in Attorney Frank or President Fain can step up. I think we have to decide what we're going to do first.
If I can help with the procedure, Mr. Pettibone. If the board wishes to entertain some action on whether or not to sell the property this evening, that would basically be in a directive to my office or administration to make recommendations to the board for a resolution that would contain the proper verbiage. Number one, there has to be an express finding that such is not necessary. Then there has to be in that resolution the manner of sale and the conditions of sale. And that can be easily done. Obviously, the board has to agree to them to discuss what conditions of sale the board would like to see. But that resolution should follow the board's direction on how it wishes to proceed. Sell the building, explore donation of the building, what have you. It would be a formal resolution setting forth those necessary items that are required by school code. And then from there we proceed.
I think my recommendation would be for next week, as we have it on the agenda, that we set up a structure of, to sell, to keep, whatever, one set of votes. If we decide to sell, I think the next set is, to let Mr. Freund walk us through some various options, that we take some votes on that, so that gives him then the direction of how to proceed accordingly. And so we're just going to have to step through multiple votes next week on this issue. Does that?
It's accurate. I agree with that. I also would just like to refer to the board, if we decide to move on a vote, that we utilize the CACLD, we utilize the city of Easton, as they do have a lot of expertise in this area. And as we try to build relationships within the community, I think it's important that we use some of the knowledge they have. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Faingold, the chair of the Finance Committee.
We've actually had pretty much discussion and everything. Could have gone about 811, but I think if there's any other comments on the other two.
Any comments from the board regarding any items on the meeting ground? From the public? Thank you.
At this time, we're going to have the finance, and looks like we start with Mr. Trago.
Usually I sing a couple notes first before everybody leaves. Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight.
about our high school computer lease and our Internet and WAN, which stands for Wide Area Network, not WAN. WAN. But first, a couple of quotes, because Mr. Ryder likes it. Western Union in 1876 said, "This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. This device is inherently of no value to us." President of Digital Equipment Corporation in 1977, the year of my graduation from Eastern Area High School, said, "There's no reason anyone would want a computer in their home." And of course, who can forget Decca Recording rejecting the Beatles, saying, "We don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out." Well, we don't know where technology is going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, 10 years. One thing we do know, though, is even if you're on the right track, you're going to run over if you just sit there. So I want to talk about, first of all, our technology budget. Over the years, I feel, and I believe everyone sitting up there would agree, the technology department has been very forthcoming with anything in the way of trimming a budget, cutting a budget, trying to save money for this district. We've done a lot of things over the last few years. So I thought I'd share with the quote-unquote new board some of the things that we've done in 2 quick slides. So in 2010-11, we returned to the general fund almost $500,000. And why? Because we didn't do some projects that we really wanted to do. We were in a budget crunch, and we didn't spend the money. It went back into the general fund. We also, as part of the ad hoc budget meetings, we reduced our 10-11 budget by $303,000, and we also reduced our lease that year, computer lease, which I believe was the elementary lease, which also added to that amount there. We also, in our department, take in revenue. We sell our laptops back to the teachers, in case you didn't know that. And we also sell the student laptops to a third-party vendor. That revenue comes back into our budget. So in that year, we made $347,000 revenue for the school district. The next item is kind of a sad item, as far as I'm concerned. A couple of years back, 12.5 people were cut from the technology staff, resulting in $820,000. So that's not a very proud savings that I like to talk about, but it did occur, and I guess we feel that every day. But that totals about $2 million of savings to the district. In 11-12, we returned to the general fund $173,000 from the 10-11 budget. We also reduced our lease budget that year by buying or reusing some of the desktop machines, not replacing some of them. So we were able to save some money there, and that was a cost savings. We sold $292,400 worth of computers back to the teachers and to a third-party vendor, all going back as revenue to our budget. We feel it's a very creative way to add revenue. And I think I joked about at the ad hoc budget meeting that we've taken more revenue than the athletic department, which I think is pretty fun. Jim, you're good at it. That totals $605,000 of total budget savings to the district. Plus, we're using printers, we're using carts, the laptop carts. We're not buying them new every lease. Bags, teachers carry laptops in bags, and so do you. We're asking them to reuse their bags. We're not purchasing flash drives for teachers anymore, so we've cut some things, and that's part of that as well. So savings from 2009 to 2011 is, $2.5 million. Plus, if you add that sustainable reduction of personnel, because as you know, when you reduce personnel, it's sustainable over the years. It's over $3 million that we've helped try to help the cause here in the school district for the budget woes that we've had. Okay, let's talk about our computer lease now. This is for the high school this year. This is the high school's turn. For those of you that don't know, we have 3 leases. And 11 years ago, when I arrived here, there were about 8 leases. And we combined them all. There are 3, elementary, AA administration 1, middle schools, the high school and athletics and the other. And this year, we're also going to do the business department because a few years back, the business computers were not rebuilt. They're really a mess. The high school lease 3 years ago also included the Shawnee Elementary School because it was new construction. We needed computers for the teachers. New school, new computers. Teachers needed computers. Students needed computers. So we added that into the high school lease 3 years ago. We thought that would be okay to do because at that time I applied for Classrooms for the Future grant, which we received. And we received a lot of money for that. And we were able to put computers into the high school at no cost to the district at all. So let's look at our current lease costs. Our current lease costs are for elementary, EA, and admin, $414,000-ish. For middle school, $311,000. And for the high school, 3 years ago, which we're talking about now, and Shawnee 3 years ago, about $380,000. Our annual combined lease payment a year is $1.1 million. Now this is a reduction of about $360,000 since 2009 because equipment costs have come down and we're using a lot of the desktop computers. Okay, let's take a look at the Classrooms for the Future grant computers compared with what we really bought from our lease. So there were 2.5, 3 years of CFF computers. You see the numbers there. The lease, however, there were just 12 cards and 296 computers. So at the high school, there's a total of 956 laptops and 36 cards in the high school. 3 years ago, the lease included this, 450 white MacBooks. That was for the high school and Shawnee Elementary. No Classrooms for the Future laptops were replaced 3 years ago. There were 320 aluminum MacBooks. Those were for the high school teachers and Shawnee teachers because we had that school to take care of. And administration laptops were in there as well. 320 iMacs for the business labs, tech ed, writing labs, the library, and the offices. There were some VGA adapters, which are these little white pieces that stick out of a computer to connect to a projector. Had to buy those. And because we are because we do a lot of business with Apple, there were iPod Touches that were at a very good cost price in the district that were offered by Apple. So we distributed those throughout the district that year. This year, we're going to reuse and reimage a lot. We're going to reuse those 320 iMacs. We're not going to go out and buy those adapters again because guess what? They fit in the new computers that teachers are going to get. Those iPod Touches are still being used, they're still good, batteries are still okay, so we're using those as well. We do not need to buy Shawnee student and teacher laptops this time. They'll be rolled into the elementary lease next time. You might say, well, how are we going to do that? Well, I'm hoping for when we get to the elementary lease next year, I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more iPads. iPads equals less price. We're also not replacing classroom and office printers. In fact, we haven't done so for a number of years. We're going on 9 years in some of our locations with printers. And it's okay. We've been okay with that. We're also not going to replace 36 laptop cards because we can reuse them. This high school lease looks like this. 960 MacBook Airs. This will replace all of the leased student laptops and all of the CFF laptops. We're going to replace all of them. We get to sell them, so that will bring in revenue. 225 MacBook Pros replace all the teacher laptops, administrator laptops. You might remember that in 2009, I think the number was 320. So why is the numbers less now? Well, there were furloughs of the high school teachers a few years back, and we're not buying Shawnee teachers' laptops at this time. So there's 225. Worked into this price are 220 iPads that will live in 7 carts. What we're going to do as a department, and I can't take credit for this, my staff came up with this idea. We're going to have teachers sort of apply for the use of these iPads. I see iPad technology as the future of technology. We're going to be having textbooks on iPads soon. Companies are now making digital textbooks for the iPad as we speak. I was at a music workshop the other day where a salesperson was there for music textbooks. They're actively investigating the iPad for their textbooks. It's running wild now. Everything will be on an iPad soon. And soon, I don't know, but every student may have one of these sometime in the future when we're in a better financial situation, of course. We're also going to get 10 Mac Minis. This is to replace the business office computers. Now, if you don't know what Mac Minis are, this is also another cost-saving item. Mac Minis are kind of small little square CPUs that don't come with monitors and don't come with keyboards. We're reusing the monitors and keyboards that are currently in the business section and connecting them to these Mac Minis. Plenty of horsepower, and it's long overdue. I think Mike can tell you, almost on a weekly basis, he says, geez, when are you going to replace these? Because people are having problems, they're slow, and it's an issue. So, if you went out and spent retail cost for all of these items, for the list there, the retail cost would be $1.6 million. That's if, a consumer would go into the Apple store and buy these computers, which would be, can't imagine doing that, but that's what the cost would be. There's an education price. So, of course, Apple sells to education a lot, and they reduce their price a lot. $1.33 million is the education cost. This is $319,000 less than that retail price I just showed you before. However, because we're such good customers, and because Mr. Simonet and I have been talking to Apple over the last month and working miracles with them, we are going to get all of this equipment for $1.18. This is $471,000 less than at retail. Remember, we're replacing all of those CFF, those Castle Future laptops, all of them as well, and we get to sell them. But that's not all. What we're going to do is use unencumbered money that we had from the laptop sale from last year. You remember that $292,400 earlier? That was what we made for the sale. It's still in the budget right now. So we're going to use that as a payment to pay down the lease. Mr. Simonet and I came up with this idea after talking with Apple. We're also going to use the projected income, and the projected laptop sale revenue is about $314,000. We won't make that, but we will absolutely make enough money to pay the payment that I'll show you right now. So the finance will look like this. In April 2012, there's that $292,400 coming from revenue that we made from laptop sales. And then there's a lease payment of $224,000. In August, there's that payment of laptops that we'll be selling in June to the teachers. We need $217,000 for that. Remember, our proposed is $314,000. We'll be fine there. And there's two other lease payments. So we're using our revenue to bring down the cost of our lease. Let me show you what that actually looks like. So in 2009, $380,000. In 2012, $224,000 a year for this lease. Savings of $155,000 a year, or $466,000 over the term of the lease. So here's the three leases again, and you can see that high school lease. We're just going to cross that right out because the real cost now goes from $379,000 to $224,000 because we're using revenue. And annual combined lease payment is going from $1.1 million to $950,000. So we're bringing that lease cost down. More equipment, less cost. The agenda item should look something like this. Debbie, you don't need to write real fast because I'll give this to you. But request board approval for a 3-year lease without the computer for the high school at a cost of $1.181065 with the annual payments of $224,159.79 currently attached. $510,318.24 will be funded by revenue generated from laptop sales. This high school lease refresh reflects the reduction in the lease budget of $466,395 from the prior high school lease. That's the section. That's the end of the Apple lease part of my presentation. I want to move on to the Internet and WAN part. Are there any questions about the Apple lease first? We can take everything at the end. Mr. Freud, Mr. Simonet let me know of something that he received from you earlier. We have a conference call with Apple tomorrow to to address a couple of those things.
All right, yeah, maybe we should check before that call. I'm sure there are things that can be addressed, but I have some questions. With these leases, there's two basic questions in these leases sometimes. Whether they're actually purchases,
Yeah.
and there's things we look for that,
The,
and whether they may constitute debt, and there's things we look for in that. And so I need a couple of questions answered.
Sure.
It looks like you came up with a wonderful deal. We certainly don't want lawyers to pour water on it, but on the other hand, we certainly don't want
Understandable.
any problems with the Department of Education or the audit check.
I can tell you that it is a, I read one of the questions, it is a consortium thing, it's a capital IU, and it is a bidded thing. The other
That's
question.
one of the issues.
Right, so we'll deal with the others then. Thank you very much for giving us my time. You really like that microphone, don't you?
This is a good carpet, right?
What's not my It'll be a bunch of stuff for me, it's like that. Okay. So let's talk about the internet and the wide area network. We have some issues with our internet. It's slow, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. So just to give you an idea, as a new board, what it costs school districts for internet and to be part of a wide area network, to show you what we're currently paying. Our internet is provided by Penn Teledata through the IU-20. It's a 5-year contract originally approved by the school board in January 2010. We have 3 years remaining. Currently, we have a 100 meg pipe. 50 of that, megs of that pipe, are for internet. And these are costs associated with that. There's 1438 circuit costs for that 100 megs pipe, and that's E-rate eligible. I probably should explain a little bit about E-rate. Every year, with help of a consultant, I file for E-rate. And E-rate is based on free and reduced lunch. So, fortunately or unfortunately, when you look at it, we get 61% discount on things like internet, our telephone, our POTS lines that run elevators and emergency lines and security lines. We get 61% discount from that. So the circuit cost is E-rate eligible. The internet 50 megs at $22.50 a month is also E-rate eligible. There is router support that the equipment, the support for that router is not E-rate eligible. And there's some additional IU services and costs. $175 a month for Internet 2, which is a high-speed kind of pipe. It's not commodity internet, like you're surfing the web, that's commodity internet. This is a separate pipe that video streams can come through, and to make those things a little bit faster for our kids and for our staff. There's Pennsylvania IUNet, which is $307 a month. The PA IUNet is all of the IUs are sort of connected. You can picture like lines connecting all of the different IUs. That's sort of a network. So they have PA IUNet. And then we have our own wide area network through the IU of all of the schools in the IU. Theory is that we'll share resources. Now we're just beginning to start to share resources. There's not a lot of it going on. As a matter of fact, there's a meeting on Friday that I have with the IU directors. The meeting because I wanted the meeting, and I called the meeting. He's calling the meeting of all the directors of the schools in the IU to see what we can do maybe about some of these costs. But for right now, before E-rate, and there's also a cost recovery fee, the IU charges $50 a month. That's for them doing their portion of the of E-rate. They charge each district $50 a month for that, which is what they charge. $4,336 before E-rate. So the cost in addition for all of that right now is $2,086.68 a month after E-rate. But we have a problem with our internet usage. We have over 10,000 devices district-wide on our network. These are just some of, the staff wanted me to list all of them. I said, no, just do one slide, I'll understand. These are some of the things that our teachers and students are doing. I think the biggest one is the first one, internet research. All of the websites visited daily. If you try to watch a movie in our district, if you try to go to United Stream, or if you try to go to YouTube to to watch something educational, it is horrible. It's stutters and stammers, and the bandwidth is just horrible. In fact, I can show you what an actual graph. We pulled this on, I think, March 12th. This is a 4-hour period. We have 50 megs of internet now. We are at 50 megs all the time through that 4 hours anyway. And that's why things are slow. So administration, wonder why things are kind of slow at times, and email calls some mornings. Well, our email now is on the web as well. We went to Google Mail. Why did I do that? It's free. We don't have to pay for our mail server. There's nothing here on site. So we need to increase our internet usage. As a test the other day, I said to my network person, hey, let's turn off shaping. There's something we can do with the bandwidth called shaping. So in other words, out of the 50 megs we have now, I could say, I want to allow 4 megs for video. I want to allow 20 of that 50 megs for HTTP traffic. So we can shape things, and we do. I asked my network guy to turn off shaping for a minute. So at 8:05 in the morning, we turned it off. We immediately spiked to 84 megs. You see it there. Immediate to 84. The line across the top represents the shape was still being shaped, and then where that line stops with the arrows, the shaping was turned off. This is not good. We can't do this because we're only allowed 50. This is called bursting. We would eventually pay for this. Pentel Data would charge us for every time we burst, we would get a bill. So we can't open up that shaping. So, what I'm proposing to do is to have that same contract, and we have still a 5-year contract with the IU, Pentel Data, 3 years remaining. We want to move to the next step, 250 meg circuit, with 125 megs of internet from 50 megs. So here are the costs for that, $19.39 for that circuit cost, for the 250, E-rate eligible. $43.75 for internet, for 125 megs, E-rate eligible. Router support is there, and the other costs that we talked about before. Before E-rate, it's $71.7209 before E-rate. The cost of the district is $33.20.55 a month after E-rate for a faster network. So, comparison here would be 50 megs and 100 meg circuit was $20.86.68. $33.20.55 for the 250 meg circuit plus the 125 megs of internet, which would really help. It's an increase of $12.33.87 a month or $14.806.44 a year. However, this is a network map of our network, our WAN here. This is our wide area network. All of our buildings are connected. Because the 811 building is not being used anymore, we are terminating our fiber there. And because we relocated from the field house to the basement of the EAA, myself and Sue Stem, my network person, were able to sit down and terminate 3 circuits. As a matter of fact, just before I got here today, I got a deal from Pentel Data that said they're not going to wait till July 1 to terminate. They're going to terminate them immediately, so we'll actually see a savings on each of those lines of $627.48 a month for each of these circuits. So we're cutting those circuits. We're able to redirect some of our paths there, not causing any problem with our network at all. Everything will be just fine. So now, those 3 terminated circuits will total $1882.44 a month. Savings. A year, it's a $22,000 savings. A year. So, when you add that additional increase for the additional bandwidth that I'm asking for, and you subtract that from the $22,000, we're actually making $7,782.84 by doing this. So as I said before, and I'm being totally honest, and I actually try to do this all the time, we're always looking for ways to save money. We realize technology is expensive. We do things like this because we can. And I wouldn't do it if we couldn't save that the money and we still get by. So the board agenda item would probably be something like this. Request board approval for commitment to IU WAN project with an increased circuit bandwidth to 250 megs, internet bandwidth to 125 meg, Costs associated with these increases will be offset by the termination of 3 internal circuits. Okay. Basically, that's it, except for this cool quote from Mark Twain. Plan for the future, because that is where you're going to spend the rest of your life. Any questions? Yes.
I'd like to know, Mr. Drago, how many sets of knives are you getting with all this? I need to take you on my next time I buy a car. But that's very impressive what you've done in helping to shape better performance, better equipment, and lower costs.
I agree 100%. It's fantastic.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Drago. I know you have a great team there, and you're very creative in coming up with ideas that work for all of the students and staff, so thank you all very much.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want everybody to know that Mr. Drago, when he made that presentation to me, it seemed to go a little quicker.
That wasn't too bad.
Thanks, Tom. That was good. What he did mention at the end, and it's in the papers, is even after that, it had to be negotiated with a better interest rate. So,
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It was I guess I sent you an email, but it was 1.9, and then we saw some things that Apple was doing with another school district. And I read the paper, and we were able to get even better, do even better. Let's just say that, to 0.19.
Was that elbow that she read the paper and just...
No, it was that. I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Did you do that 5-hour energy stuff?
I look like that.
Okay. Check.
But Mike, I'd like to thank you as well, because you were, very much part of this whole discussion with Apple, so thank
It's
you.
great stuff. I mean, like you said, what we're getting into with our financial situation, it's that kind of thinking that, we need to get, like I said, new equipment, better equipment, and more equipment, and what else we call it. Thank you.
I'd just like to comment that I said before, that I think it's really great working so close with you, so you know what's happening. And you're not playing catch up. You know what he's doing, and you know that he's saving money. And that, I know for you, that's good.
Thanks, Pat.
Okay, with that said, we only anticipating budget update for 2012-13. I'm just going to present some slides, a little more detail than what we've had. The first page is the list of expenditures, and what I'm presenting is the actual 2010-2011 audited figures, the current budgeted amount for 11-12, and what we're proposing for 12-13. The amount change and the percent change. I first want to address the last two columns. Be concerned with the number on the second page, the total increase in the budget, which is 4.6% on the expenditures. The fluctuation in the amount change and the percentage changes throughout this budget right now is based on the way the current year budget is set up. There's a lot of accounts that need to be reviewed, that items should be charged to those accounts, but the money isn't budgeted for. As I told you before, we're working on all that, we're trying to clean that up. The bottom line is, the only increases we're presenting in this budget are contractual obligations, any increases for utilities or other mandatory expenses. All other accounts have been frozen or reduced. So, and I'm not going to go through each line item. If there's questions, obviously, we'll address them. But I do want to point out 3 account items on the first page. The 1100 under instruction, the 2100 under support services, and the 2600 under support services. if you look at what was spent in 10-11 versus what's budgeted in 11-12, you're going to see in the future slide why the increase is more effective than what it would normally be if it was budgeted appropriately. I mentioned to you in an earlier meeting that there was some concern about under-budgeting for this year, as well as underestimating the revenues. We'll get to that when we get to the revenue page. On page 2 is the second page of the expenses. And you will see the reduction in the debt services for next year. We're going to realize some money this year, as well as the expense for next year based on the refinancing that we did a few months back. Revenue. Pay attention to 6,000 local. The actual revenue in 10-11 was 87 million. The estimated revenue for 11-12 is 92 million. There is, as I mentioned before, there's concern about that when you're talking a $5 million increase. And next year, based on, by the way, this is based on the index of 2.2, and I'm only anticipating a little over $2 million increase. The other area of revenue that I want to address is the 9,000. You see a major reduction. There was a revenue estimated in 11-12 school year that, as I understand it, is nothing more than an audit adjustment at the end of the year, which is not included in the revenue. That's why you see that major reduction. So, the bottom line is our expenses currently 138, 936. The anticipated revenue 131, 936. Which brings a deficit of $7 million. I also indicated at an earlier meeting, right off the bat, I'm recommending to the board that we dip into the assigned surplus that has been previously set up for items such as benefit increases, pension obligations, and in order to give us a realistic number without, in my mind, estimating the programs right off the bat, I think we should use some of that money. That's what it's there for. And we also got to be cognizant of not using all of it, because we all know that salaries and pension obligations are going to increase in the next few years. So I'm bringing a deficit, I'm bringing the deficit down to around $4 million. That is the assignment. And we'll do the next page is just a picture of the revenues. I want to try to give an idea over the last couple of years, and George, not any surprise to anybody, but we're relying on the local revenue, the local share, to fund the budget, as the state federal money is going down. We're looking at the local revenue funding 72% of the budget this year. This screen is a breakdown of expenditure. We all sit there saying, we cut this and we do that. I try to break it up into areas where what we can change, or we are going to have a hard time changing what we can't change. And if you look at the first area, 18%, there's no adjustment, there's nothing we can do there. That's debt service and obligations for technology and other budgets such as the IU and IU. The next category, the largest category, is the contractual obligations. We have salaries, benefits, pension, other contractual obligations, tuition, and the like. That's the area that we can't do unless we make reductions or program changes. replace staff and so on. The next area, and now we're getting down to burden money, utilities, insurance, athletics, substitutes, overtime. We say we can deal with those areas and make changes, but I will tell you, those numbers right there for substitutes and overtime are low based on estimates that we do. So I can move that up to the other column. I just want to say that we can do something. And what that means is approximately a little over 9% of a $139 million budget that we can realistically deal with and make cuts. Supplies, textbooks, other curriculum materials, stuff, in the classroom. As a district-wide picture, I just wanted to break out to let everyone aware that salaries and pension alone make up 52% of the operating budget for next year. If we include benefits, medical benefits, Social Security, all that stuff, and these are the breakdowns by category of the percentage of the total budget. So there's two areas.
Mike?
Yes.
What is, I'm sure you have this group together. I know the share of our pension money is going up. Is that in a particular figure?
It's going to be more than total district-wide salary, but it's 12, for next year it's going up to 12.36%. This year it's 8.4.
12 points, is that?
12.36.
36, okay. Is that for just the school district or for the school district and teachers?
That's where all our salaries in the pension.
What was that?
That's where all the salaries in the district.
Okay, that's total, in other words, that is the school district and the teachers putting that's what it is.
That's the district share.
Oh.
The obligation.
What would be the teacher's share then, the same amount?
Oh, no, I don't know that, but I'll get that.
Okay.
I'll get that. I think it's around, it's more than 7%.
Yeah, I think it's
But I'll find out for sure.
I remember reading, but I might be wrong.
The next screen is just, we'll talk about what's driving the budget increase. 3.2 million in contractual salaries, 2.7 million in the Social Security, pension, district obligations. You see we have a reduction of 900,000 for, I want to throw that in there for debt service. I can also throw away $150,000 for the technology release now, reducing the budget. But I did want to mention, we talked about before, that right now, I'm estimating that the current year's salary requirements are under budgeted by about $1.2 million. So I have to add that and talk about what's increasing the budget. I have to put that in that number. Our total budget is going up about 6.2. Even with those savings, those three areas there, we're looking at 1.3 of an increase in budget. The fund balance that I talked about. The 2.1 million is committed fund balance. It's already approved to help balance the revenues for the 11th all students. The assigned fund balance, where I wanted to take that $3 million out, is at $13 million. And again, that was set up through the years for those areas of contractual obligations. We're moving the board resolutions to do that to approve the budget. The unassigned budget, surplus, is $3.7 million. It's not allowed in $139 million budget. We also have a capital reserve of $4.5 million that can be adjusted through board resolution if we want to take that out of capital projects. Over the last couple of months, what we've been doing as a group, as a district, we've been buildings, and that's going to continue. But we've started talking about a lot of ideas on how to reduce the budget, and how do we get it down to the budget. And look, there's a couple areas there. Obviously, you have to look at all areas. Some of the things that are high on the radar right now, this is really a great presentation to a way to keep the academy, but restructure it and save a good deal of money. We'll be presenting that in more detail once all this is finalized. We're looking at all the other instructional support programs. We're looking at attempting to establish a district-run cyber school, which will bring in revenue. We're looking at athletics, as I said, we're looking everywhere. And we're looking at district-wide staff reduction. We have to. If you look at those 4 areas, that's not going to get us $4 million. So we have to be looking at everything and doing things differently. We're also looking at contracted services. So all the way we spend money. As I said, those areas that we can, at 9%, we can adjust. We're reducing those expenditures back to the 9-10 levels. So we're going to have to be deal with a little less in the classroom as far as supplies, and district-wide, not just the classroom, whether it's committees, whether it's...
I have another question. Is it possible that the board look into opening the Easton Academy to other nearby schools and charging them? And bringing that in as a sense of revenue? Because I don't think Wilson and a couple of other schools that are nearby actually have academies. And that could be $12,000 a student if we did that. That's something maybe the superintendent, could look into. I don't know if we want to do that, but I'm saying you have that down as a source of possible income. Is that correct?
No, that's about restructuring the program. That's a source of reduction of cuts.
Oh, okay. But another way would be to expand it and make money from other schools instead of you mentioned a charter school, so that could be one could go up, and I don't know, both of them could go up.
Well, I will ask Mr. Neely to speak to that. I don't want to speak in terms about the history of the academy and what your thoughts are, if you don't mind.
Sure. Dr. Volcano, we did look at that. We've looked at a couple different options. One of the things that we've looked at is as a restructure. We think that would offer a better program to our district students, but also still be fiscally responsible. By opening our doors to other districts, at this point, we didn't feel that was going to be as much of a revenue source, and it would take away some of the seats that are currently needed by our school district students. So we did look at both options, but the restructure was what was kind of what we opted with at that point.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but I'm glad you looked into it.
On that last one, I just want to be clear that when it says district-wide staff reduction, that's district-wide. It's not focused in any one area. Can you make that clear? Moving forward, ongoing discussions to develop a balanced budget. The aggressive manner in which we want to try to do this budget is the plan for April 17th, adoption of the preliminary budget. We will continue those discussions for a finalized budget with an anticipated adoption on May 22nd. If we want to adopt the final budget on May 22nd, we have to adopt the preliminary at least 30 days in advance. And that's why it's and of course, board committees, board meetings, committee meetings, more discussion as necessary. As you all know, we're developing the final detail, more detail, in a legible manner for the board to review. And that, I'm hoping I can get that to you by the end of this week for more detail. And I would like to offer, by all means, any questions on this, now, well, on this, read it over the weekend, in more detail, call me, come to the office, we'll sit down, we'll go through it, because I'd rather have the answers for you when you have questions, instead of getting back. Any questions?
Thanks, Mike. I think this is a fairly grim picture that you paint here tonight for us. But if I read this correctly, it's actually worse in that you are assuming $2.5 million through a tax increase. Is that correct?
As I said.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And I think in this economic climate, that is an undue burden on the taxpayers of this district. So what I'd be looking at is that we're really operating at a $6.5 million bogey.
And that's at a zero objective, right?
Right. My question would be, this is for the 12-13 school year. Have you been looking at years beyond that, and what does that picture hold for the district?
As written, and I will tell you, just on that comment alone, we go down to zero now. It becomes more, the base gets less. Costs are still there. So, and I acknowledge and I understand the tax implications, but I will always caution when there's an index per cap to go to, when you reduce your base in future years, that you maintain those obligations. That puts you more in the hole moving forward. I don't think we can do that.
Well, also, we would tend to go more in the hole if the state continues to raise its retirement amount. Because that's a big, I mean, even from this year to next year, if they continue to raise that retirement amount, we have to do something to get that money. It's like 5% this year, from this year to next year.
I understand for 13, 14, that's going to be 16% or 15 plus.
I think another concern has to be, you want to pull $3 million out of the assigned money. If you pull $3 million out this year, it's going to probably be $3 million plus next year. And at that rate, within a little over 3 years, the assigned will be going away, and we will actually be hitting the unassigned for capital reserve. So you're going to be heading towards a big deficit.
And listen, exactly. It's not pretty, as you said. But we're also in a position where we're looking at the way we've always done things. And we, as a group, as a team, that we're meeting every week, we're always coming up with ways to do things differently with less. So we're going to try to offset that as we move along as well.
But at the same time, right now, you're saying we have to come up with $4 million roughly in cuts and still pulling $3 million out.
And still be 2.2% increase.
Right.
Correct.
And also, no, I don't think any of us can anticipate doing this every year, whether it's the teachers, the taxpayers, the board, administrators. I think we should all be in agreement that we look to do something this year that's going to benefit for years to come, as opposed to this year, next year, the following year, keep going back and forth. So I think that we need to start looking at, making the decisions this year. So every year we're not coming back and having the district go through the same thing that we're doing now. So I think we can keep that in mind, and it's just something that we can look at, going out 3-4 years as discussed and try to, let's handle this year. Let's do what we need to do this year to ensure the future.
Other comments, questions of the board? Hearing none. Going back to the agenda. At this point, I would open the floor, if there's any comments to be heard by the public on the agenda item. That's the technology and the budget. Any comments by the public? Seeing none. Quick summary is, at this point in time, on the next agenda, we will have 2 technology issues listed for approval. Moving on. Again, the floor is open to the public to comment on any non-agenda items. Would anybody like to address that? Yes. I ask that you please state your name.
My name is Kathy Snyder. I live here on South Side. My non-agenda comment is the beginning of the 3rd semester. My son, who is an athlete, had 3 classes he had 40s in at any particular time. I got this via Power School, which most people have, but I know a lot of people on South Side that do not have the internet to check their grades online. I was not told by the school district. I didn't get a letter from the teacher. No communication whatsoever from the school via, anyway, a phone call from the teacher saying, are you aware your son Tom has this grade? So what I'm asking is, we have to put something to these teachers that they need to communicate better with their school, with the parents. Because there's more responsible parents out there like myself who try to stay on top of their teenage kids to the best of their ability. I spoke with Mr. Principal at the beginning of the month because this bothered me. Mr. Powell, he wrestled, had no clue Thomas had these grades. And yet he was allowed to wrestle and go to practice and do his things. Now, of course, as soon as I found out, Monday morning, 8 a.m., I'm sitting at my desk at work, I get his grades. I, went home, took care of it, his grades are back up, he's got 80s again, was taken care of. But at that point, I didn't know. I have good communication with my son. Walked down the grocery aisle last night, he says, oh, by the way, I've got detention tomorrow. What for? Disrespect. No notification from the school. Had my son not been forthcoming with me to let me know what was going on in his life, I wouldn't have known. How am I supposed to teach him respect, repercussions? Big thing, 5th and 6th grade. All I heard from his teachers was consequences, consequences, consequences. How can I, as a parent at home, show my son consequences for his actions if I'm getting nothing from the school to let me know what's going on? And all the teachers have our phone numbers. We have to give it at the beginning of the year on those 1,800 forms we have to sign. If you have email, they all have our email. Somewhere along the line, teachers have to be held accountable as well to us as the parents. What's it take? 30-second email. Mrs. Austin, your son was disrespectful to me, hence he's been given referral to the principal, he's been given detention. Could you please take care of this at home? So I'm asking the school board, can we please get something to the parents that don't have email, to the parents that may not have a phone in their house because times are tough, people are losing their jobs left and right. A letter through the mail. This happened on this day, this is what's going on, can you address it? Because I am first, and my son is very well maintained with all the principals from Cheston to the high school now. Everybody knows who he is. Not necessarily he's a bad kid, but he's mischievous. He likes to pull pranks. He's like me. Sometimes his anger gets the better of him. And he knows, like Mr. Pinstone on seeing them in the streets, hi, how you doing, through his sports, academics, and whatnot. So, it's not a big thing for me to get a call saying, I've had him in the office with the 8th grade principal. He's being disrespectful. What can we do? So, if the school district, the board, can somehow implement something that when something's going on in the school district, it's forward to the parents other than just our school that we get once a week.
And make sure that you are contacted when there are disciplinary actions. There is information that is disseminated to parents. I don't know what the disconnect was, but we will look into it and we will contact you tomorrow.
Yeah, I received nothing as far as the detention. Like I said, he was given it to him. He told me about it. He's grounded now. He's being held accountable because that's definitely something we do not accept in our family to the school, no matter what. He's always been told, you can disagree, you cannot disrespect. You can argue your points to your blue, never disrespect.
Have you also contacted the principal?
I haven't, because it was just a detention. He came forward. but to me, it just shows a lack of communication. The teacher should have been on the phone, leaving a home message. And I know my son doesn't get the messages because he has no clue how to check on it. Unless it's on a cell phone, a house phone, he's oblivious to. So I know he didn't get it, and my husband's home most of the time, and he didn't receive anything. And I did not get an email because, again, my son can't get into my email. So, and I'm the only one listed. My husband's not listed. And everything that goes through the school comes from me first.
We will look into this matter and we will be in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board this evening? I'm not seeing any hands, so at that point I'm going to adjourn this meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Oh, was there another hand back there? Okay, I'm sorry. And your name?
I'm Candy Boyer. I'm a teacher here at Chester. I'm a school. I teach first grade. I also am the committee leader for our science fair, and those are the invitations that were placed in front of you. I just wanted to also thank you guys for coming out to Cheston to put on a meeting, and you guys convenience to our family who aren't always able to get out to downtown or Bushnell Drive. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have one question now.
Dr. Moscatus will be there.
That's what I heard. Heard your report.
Oh, I'm sure Dr. Moscatus will be there. And I'm interested, the students are preparing the projects in class, correct?
They have the opportunity to work. Every class has the opportunity to do a class project, and then we also give them the opportunity to do individual projects at home. And our art teacher, Mary, is very gracious in giving them supplies, great posters. As teachers, we also offer supplies and give them guidance into what they need to do and what is appropriate. So.
The question, the reason I ask is, if possible, I mean, I don't know about it, but myself, I would like to come in and watch one of the classes when the kids are working on their class project. I never really paid attention to science until I got older. And it's kind of neat. I would like to, come in just to watch, even from the hallway, to watch the young kids in Cheston work on that. So.
I can definitely set that up with any teacher I can see who's working on one. The information for the science fair, the date has been presented to the teachers, the information will be going on next week. So I know as myself, we already did a few projects for the science fair, but we will be doing more, so you're more than welcome to come in and help us observe or get great in there with us.
Absolutely. I like to make the volcanoes in the rough. I missed that. Try that again. I'm scared to work with Dr. Moscatus on here.
Thank you.
As you're trying to adjourn, I thank you for indulging us for a second. Ms. Boyer is also a principal intern, so she commits a lot of her own private time, personal time to do some intern work, trying to learn the role of the principal. Public speaking is one of those things, and so she was not too, happy that I pushed her on up there. One of the things I just want to say quickly about the science fair, I can take no credit for it. It was in existence when I got here, but it is one of the most phenomenal science fairs I've seen in my travels around the district, in that the children have to present to what we call guest scientists. So they actually have to be able to talk about what their project was supposed to do, what their hypothesis was, and why it did or did not fulfill those requirements as part of their science fair project. So taking it that one step further really has made it an integral part of our program here. So we invite you to come out and be a scientist, or just certainly join us that day if you're available. Thank you.
Any other hands? So I conclude this meeting. Thank you.
Save the tags.